What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. Well, you see the title, you see the thumbnail. This guy, Spider from Salinas, from Salinas. There's been a lot of people asking me to do a reaction, to give my 2 cents, my thoughts on the interview. And last night, I watched some of it. This morning, I watched some of it. It's long, right? So I didn't watch the whole thing, but I got the gist of it. And I know a lot of people are hung up on certain things that he said, right? I've reached out to the few people that I could that would know, and everyone has told me the same thing. This dude really was with the business. So when it comes to him putting in work, I'm told it's legit. And so I'm going to talk about a couple things, right? But there's one main thing that I got out of this video. Now, first of all, when I heard him say something about the riot and going out and there were blacks that were in wheelchairs, I think that's one of the things where people hear that and they're like, well, where was that at? Because normally, if you hear of wheelchairs, that's like, I believe Donovan had people like that, and Vacaville. I don't know. I've never been. I don't know. He said, I think he was in Kern, so maybe I was never in Kern, right? Wherever he was at, I've never heard of people having wheelchairs on the yard. In Pelican Bay, there was a black dude named Angel. Angel had one leg. Angel used to be on the yard busting down burpees the whole yard, right? In New Folsom, there was a homie, and he had one leg. I don't remember his name. He got there right before I left. But neither one of them had a wheelchair. Had they needed a wheelchair, they wouldn't have been in New Folsom. So that's the only thing that stuck out in my mind. I was like, damn, where was that at? But I don't know the yard. I don't know the setup. So, I have no qualms with what he said. It's just that part stuck out to me. A lot of people think he put way too much salsa on his tacos, saying that it was 4 Northerners against 100 blacks, right? And I'll tell you this, anybody that's been involved in anything, any type of jumping anybody on the streets, or anywhere, right? If you have one dude, right, and you and your homeboy jump him, you're going to tear his ass up. If you and 9 other people try to jump on one dude, he's gonna land every punch he throws. The 10 guys trying to jump him are going to get in each other's way. They're going to kick each other, hit each other. There's going to be less damage with 10 dudes on one. Especially, he talked about they had their backs to the wall. So you're not even going to get behind them. If nobody's going to take him off his feet, take him to the ground, then, and from the sounds of it, they kept coming in waves, in big numbers, getting in each other's way. So I could see surviving that type of thing. And when he talked about if it would have been Southerners, it would have been a different thing. Well, he's absolutely correct in the fact that Southerners, when it came to blacks, and I don't know why people are still disputing this. In the level 4 180s in California, blacks outnumber the Mexicans by hundreds on the yard, by hundreds. And that's why whenever the Southerners would get into it with the blacks, they wouldn't say, okay, we're only going to beef with the Crips. Don't touch the Bloods or don't put... No, They were so outnumbered that the Southerners would hit everyone on the yard. And another reason why was because a lot of times if there was an issue, like for an example, the issue that happened that led up to the riot in Pelican Bay in 2000, every group was spoken to because everybody was pushing that dude off on another group. And so the Southerners were reaching out to all the groups like, hey, man, everything's cool here. Just get rid of this dude for the disrespect. And in the end, they just told him to roll it up, and he did. And that's when the Southerner leadership on the yard said, now they all got to pay. So when the Southerners would move on blacks, because they were so outnumbered, they would go at everybody, right? When Southerners would go at Northerners, they would never send everybody because the Northerners were so outnumbered and everybody's going to get in each other's way, right? So, for an example, Spider and his three homies, if it would have been the Southerners that were after them that day, in my opinion, 8 Southerners would have been sent, at the most 10. But I know 99.999% it would have been 8. There's 4 of them. You send 2 dudes on each one of them. All 8 dudes know exactly who their target is. All 8 are going to be strapped. And it's going to be a bad day. So I don't have any issues with that riot story. I do know I've told the story, and Nate Dogg 916, he was there. He told the story. There was an incident where in New Folsom, I came out to yard, and I found out once I was on the yard, and it wasn't our yard day. It wasn't a Southerner yard day. They used to rotate the days, right? And I'm told once I get out there on the yard that the blacks are planning on moving on us. I'm pissed. We got a couple homies that come out of the chow hall that were kitchen workers, and we wound up with 7 dudes on the yard. And I can tell you, I was pissed, and I told the homies, I said, we're through, homies. These bottles are going to tear us up, man. You know, so that was what I thought. The yard went in. The incident was squashed. But in my mind, there were so many blacks on the yard that I was like, homie, there's 4 of us up here. There was 11 of us wound up total on the yard. 7 of us on the top of the yard and 4 in front of the canteen. And I was like, damn, at least there's 7 of us right here, because them 4 dummies that are staying in front of the canteen, man, there was a lot of Crips posted up right next to them. Anyways, so there's those things. When he talks about all the luxuries he had when he went to Salinas Valley, I have zero doubt. Zero. One thing that I will give the Northerners, even in YA, the cops, counselors, GSs that were from Northern California and they were working at those Northern YAs, they would set up Southerners for the Northerners. Preston was notorious for it up until Chad opened up, and then they moved a lot of the main dudes from Preston to Chad, right? The Northerners would get they had a lot of juice with a lot of the cops in YA. Same thing in the joint, especially Salinas Valley. It was known, all the Southerners know. The Huras, the cops, they look out for them dudes. So when he says that he had all them luxuries, again, I have zero doubt. I don't doubt anything that the dude said. May he have put a little bit of extra hot sauce on a couple things? Maybe. But that's not what really, really stood out to me. And that's why I wanted to make this video. What really stood out to me is Johnny Mitchell. Johnny Mitchell has a habit And I don't know the guy. No knock on him, but it kind of is a knock on him, I guess. Johnny Mitchell has a habit of interviewing people and then labeling them for clicks, labeling them things that they are not. And I know that he interviewed a person, and that person, I did a reaction to, and that person had just about everything he said wrong, right? And we spoke, and I understand the dude, he has things he was trying to do, people he was trying to help. So I took the video down, right? But that dude told me he reached out to Johnny Mitchell and said, hey, man, can you change the title of that? Like that, I was never that. And Johnny Mitchell's like, I'm not changing nothing. It's already up. It's staying up. And, on this one, he didn't really, the label, I mean, he put the name of an organization in the title. But he kept trying to insinuate in the video that Spider was really that. And I don't know. I don't know that he was, right? That's not for me to determine. That's none of my business. But every time Johnny Mitchell tried to say, well, you were this and that, you could see where this guy Spider sidestepped it. And for those of you that don't know, within the Northerners, within their thing, there's bros, there's B's and C's. There's bros, and then there's carnales, right? And those terms refer to two different things. And, growing up in Southern California, those two words are the same exact thing, meaning one thing and one thing only. And actually, you'll see a lot of raza use the word bro. Hey, bro. Hey, check it out, bro. You will never, ever, ever, ever hear a Southerner behind those walls ever refer to anyone like that if they're not a part of it. If you use that word, like say you're a youngster and you just came in the system and you use that word, you're going to only use it once. Because someone's going to be like, come here, Holmes. Hey, I don't think you understand what you're saying, Holmes, but you're not that. Either am I. So don't refer to me as that or anybody else, Holmes. That title belongs to one group of people, and they earned it. Don't call nobody else that, right? So I think maybe there's people that heard, when he used one of the titles, the B one. When he used that, people are like, oh, well, he's claiming to be this. I didn't get that vibe from him. What I got was he was a good dude, a good kid growing up. He was very good at sports. I met a guy like that in YA. Guy was not a gang member whatsoever. He was a great football player out of Kern County. He got in a fight and he broke a dude's back, like body slammed him and literally folded him in half. His legs were over his head and he just stuck there on the ground. And because of that, he got sent to YA. And, in YA, you're going to get in the mix. He was fighting. He was beating the dog shit out of people. This dude was super athletic, right? And this dude Spider said he was very good at all sports, and that's what he did. But he was also from where he was from, and when he got busted, he wasn't going to do anything halfways. So I don't know if, this probably isn't the breakdown of the interview that people wanted, but the only problem I had with the video was Johnny Mitchell trying to put a label on this individual Spider that he didn't say, yeah, I'm that. He never said that I heard when I watched the majority of it. And it also tripped me out how interested Johnny Mitchell was in what type of contraband Spider got in and how he got it And he wanted like he was like, let me get the details. That's what really stood out in my mind. I'm not trying to put a jacket. That's one thing about me. I know a lot of people on the internet like to put jackets on people. I'm not that guy. But Johnny Mitchell supposedly was in that world. And when you're in that world, you don't ask intimate questions like that. You don't ask for details of how somebody does what they do. As soon as somebody starts doing that, that's when the spider senses go up and bad things may happen. Now, I get it. He's a guy doing interviews. But if you go through my content, you've never once, 8 years I've been doing YouTube. You've never once heard me talk about how we make weapons, where we stash them, where we stash the dope, how we get it in. I mean, I mentioned the visiting room because everyone knows about that. There's other things that some people know about. The cops may know about it. That's for them to know. So I would never, even if I would have interviewed somebody like this, I would have never been like, hey, well, how'd you get it in? It's none of my business. Some of those COs might still be working. And they may be looking out for his homies that are still there. Anyways, that's my video for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them, man. I'm out of here.